Hey, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how chaos can sneak into your life disguised as passion, excitement, or even love? On the outside, you're winning the career, the goals, the image of having it all together. But inside, the constant stress, the nonstop giving, the unpredictable relationships, sis, they are all costing you something. What if the hidden cost of chaos is not just your energy? It is your peace. It is your joy. It is even the ability to feel safe in the relationships that you are in. In this conversation today, I'm going to show you why calm is not boring, why peace is something you have to, why peace is not something that you have to earn, and how to finally stop chasing chaos that only leaves you feeling drained. Sis, stick with me until the end because I'm going to share a powerful shift that will help you to set peace as your new standard. Not a privilege, but your baseline. If you've ever confused unpredictability with passion, or if you ever thought that calm meant settling, you need to hear this conversation. Thanks so much for being here. This is Love Restored. I am Marshaun Olaniyan. You are listening to and or watching KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Thank you so much for being here. This next 30 minutes, we will be discussing your new normal, choosing calm over chaos. Now, last week I told you that we were going to go even deeper into the chaos this week. That's what we're doing. But last week I introduced chaos and you saying that you want peace in your life. Instead, this is why you can't accept when peace comes for you in the form of a man, right? So after this conversation, if you have yet to go back and watch that conversation, please do that, right? Chaos. Let's talk about some of the hidden cost of chaos. One of the things that it makes me think about is the constant drama that some of us are so used to, and maybe being overextended. And all of these things can rob you of your rest. It could rob you of the clarity that you want to have in your life. It can rob you of the intimacy that you say that you want in your life. All of these things make a difference. Chaos can feel so exciting in the moment. But as mentioned before, it can leave you drained. It could leave you feeling resentful for that person and the relationship. And guess what, sis? It can also leave you questioning the worth that you bring to the table, not realizing that you are already worthy enough. But because the chaos is coming in and taking over your life, taking over your thought processes, it's messing with your inner peace. You see chaos as normal and calm as unfamiliar, calm as the stress. As I mentioned last week, a man that's very calm coming into your life, you often ask the questions, he's just too lovey-dovey, or like you're sharing this stuff with your friends and family. He's just too lovey-dovey. He say, I love you all the time. Or, oh, sis, he is too good to be true. Like, I'm really waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm really waiting for something to happen. Like, is this true? Is he true? But that comes from you being so used to the toxicity, so used to the drama, so used to being a part of frustrating situations that only suck the energy from you, that steal and rob your peace from you. Because you're so used to that toxicity, you see the calm, you see the peace as boring, as it's really unfamiliar to you just because of all of the chaos and toxicity that you have been accustomed to being a part of and even participating in. Let's be real. The true cost of the chaos is not just your exhaustion. It's not. It is those missed opportunities for genuine love, for genuine joy, and for you to actually feel fulfilled genuinely. Peace is your standard. Sis, it's not a privilege. You do not have to earn your rest or the calm by overworking yourself, by overextending yourself, by over functioning, by always being busy, by always needing to feel useful to those around you. Peace is a baseline requirement for your body. It is not a luxury saved for your vacations or those rare moments. Relationships should be measured by how safe and how calm you feel when you're in them, when you're around the person, not how chaotic, or maybe you're not using chaotic. Maybe you're like, oh, he's so exciting. Ah, that's not what you're looking for. The peace, the calm, the quiet, the stillness, the safety is what your body is craving. It's what your body is crying out for. But because of all of the trauma and all of the chaos that you're used to, you have a hard time leaning into or accepting the calm. But the calm is your new normal. It is the thing that is going to bring you the peace that you so seek. It is going to help you to accept when the man actually comes in your face and in your space and you do begin a relationship with him. The calm is going to help you to stop sabotaging the relationships that you have. This could even be the relationship with yourself. This could be the relationship with your long-term friends. And of course, the relationship with a romantic partner. We have a tendency to sabotage things unconsciously when we are not used to that part, because it's actually healthy, but we're not used to healthy relationships and or people around us. When you make peace your non-negotiable, you reshape how you show up in every space. Let me say that again. When you make peace your non-negotiable, you reshape how you show up in every space. You are no longer dealing with just the crap that comes. And if and when crap comes, because it will, is going to try you, you can recognize it and remove yourself from it. You can hear those toxic conversations and not making a conscious choice not to participate in them. Whether you are at work, because there are absolutely toxic conversations and people on your job, in your career, including but not limited to the higher positions as well as the lower positions, right? There are chaotic people and toxic people in your family. And let's be real. Your partner may be toxic. And let me tell you, sis, you may be toxic as well. Because we are a reflection of the community that we have around us. So if you could look out and you can point the finger at everybody else with them being toxic, don't forget to point one back at yourself. Because, baby, the community around you is shaping who you are. I remember not so long ago, I had to end a friendship that I thought was honestly going to stand the test of time. Not that we were in a romantic relationship, but it was literally just a friendship with a woman. And what I had to come to realize is that relationship was beginning to become toxic. Her toxic relationships and things that she had began to deal with in her life were starting to carry over into my own. Not that I was becoming that person, but I noticed that there would be instances where she wanted me to come and be a part of certain things, like going to court or coming to this or coming to that. And when I set my boundary with no, or I can't for whatever reason, it was still a no, I noticed there was a shift in how she was beginning to speak with me, how she was beginning to interact with me, how she was beginning to talk to me. And it was more talking at me versus having a conversation with me. Of course, it wasn't in every instance, because we all could recognize that in every instance, but it was a gradual increase of toxicity starting to bleed into my own life. And I just had to cut the ties and get a handle on what was actually occurring, because I didn't like the way I was feeling. I didn't like the energy that she was, bringing toward me. I didn't like the energy that I was having to give off to her, and the acceptance of what I needed to say no to and the boundary that I was creating. She wasn't able to receive that. And that's okay. It's just, I don't have to stick around for it. I can recognize toxicity and cut it off, no matter who it is. I know there are and have been plenty of people, and even clients, I've heard this from clients. Well, I mean, this person has been in my life for 20, 30 years. I've been in this relationship for 10, 20, 30 years. Not realizing that as soon as you cut that person or people out of your life, you will feel lonely in the beginning, because that's all you do. And these were your people. So you thought. So we'll feel lonely. But after you accept that they are no longer there, so two, after you have now accepted they are no longer in your life, and you start to recognize how much calmer you are, how much more peaceful your life is, how much more quiet your environment is, how much better you feel about yourself, how much more energy you have. That is priceless. It's priceless. So when you recognize these people, these situations, you can cut them off a lot sooner. Your new normal is choosing peace, not the chaos. It is the writing the new story that I spoke about last week. You can write your new story. You can intentionally get rid of the toxicity that is flowing not only through your environment, but also through your veins. Now, the toxicity that you're bringing to the table is going to take a little bit more work, but cutting off toxic people is easier than the work is going to take for you to practice putting these things into place, so you can stop being toxic, so you can start to attract better people to your face and in your space. It's going to take some work. But how to actively choose peace and love, career, and life, I already mentioned one of them, which is setting those freaking boundaries. I have worked with several clients where one or two things happens when it comes to boundaries. They have never set, or hardly ever has set, a boundary, or they have set the boundary, but then the second part, they do not enforce the boundary or boundaries that they have set. Why? Oh, and let me back up. High-powered professional Black women that I work with, they don't have a problem on the career. This is specifically to their significant other and or their spouse. So much power at work. Being able to do and get stuff done, speak up, take ownership of, right? Reach the goal in their love life. This may be you. Powerhouse at work, not so much in the home because of the fear. If I say this, how is this going to turn out? What will this do to the relationship? But boundaries are a must with everyone in your life, including boundaries that you have for yourself. Not only are boundaries for other people, they're also for you to help you to get to the next level in your life. Another boundary is literally just saying no. No is a complete sentence. Saying no to relationships, saying no to people, saying no to jobs, saying no to the environments that make you feel a certain way, that actually thrive in drama and creating and bringing more trauma to you. Being able to say no to those lifelong friendships that have been around. But when you really think about the type of people that they are and the type of energy that they're bringing to you, you feel more drained after they have left your presence than when, you feel super drained after they leave your presence. And when they're in your presence, you don't really think about it because you're thriving in all of this excitement, not realizing that it's all toxicity and you're soaking all this stuff up and nothing positive is coming from the conversation and they're bringing nothing positive to the table. You have to watch out for people like that. If all of your friends only bring and drag you down and your energy is drained after they leave your presence, it's time to do something else. It's time to be around other people and or be strong enough to cut ties with that person and or that relationship. Another way to choose peace and love and career and life is to be proactive instead of reactive. You want to react intentionally to a person or to a situation, respond versus react. That's what we want to do. We want to slow it down enough to be able to make an intelligent response to whatever the conversation was, whether it was an argument, whether it was something that was actually said to you that you needed to take a deep breath before you responded because of, the thing that they said, how they said it, etc. All this stuff makes a difference. But this is how you can actively choose peace in your life. Building those daily practices, whether it's the meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's praying, whether it's exercising, whatever those intentional practices are for you to continue to move forward in doing is only going to help you, not harm you. Right? Which actually brings me to another point, which is the liberation of not chasing chaos. How liberated must you be, or can you be? That is the question. If you no longer made those mistakes of being on that emotional roller coaster for real love or even chemistry, you don't have to choose to be in a relationship with someone where you always feel like you are on, where you always feel like the next argument is right around the corner. You don't have to mistake these emotional roller coasters for real love any longer, because the truth is they were never love in the beginning. Your body was craving the excitement, but it was really the chaos. And it's because your body's so used to that. I won't go too deep into it because we talked about your body and what it's doing. And your nervous system is so used to the chaos that it's looking for it. It's no longer in a peaceful state when the chaos is no longer around. I talked about that last week. So I won't go too deep, but just know in the beginning, it will be some pain trying to reset your body from chaos to calm. But can I let you in on a little secret? It's so worth it when you do it. going beginning stages from point A to point B. It's going to take some time. It's going to take you understanding that this is not going to be an easy process. It's going to be where you have to understand that this is going to be a painful process because there is death involved. What do I mean by death? Death of those relationships that you decided to get rid of, the death of the possibility of what the relationship could have been, the death of you not speaking to and or removing the family members from your life. This is not only the death of romantic relationships that I'm speaking about. This is the death of all of the possibilities from all of the people that you are thinking about and or actively starting to remove from your life. The long-term besties, or that you thought were besties. The relationship that you thought was going to be there. Also, the death to you and the things that you're doing to make your life chaotic. It is the death of choosing the chaos and replacing it with the calm, but understanding why calm is needed, understanding why rewriting you being a part of this environment where stress is always around is hurting your life, not adding to it. I'm just sitting here thinking, letting go of some of those people and those environments that require you to fight or to scrape for those scraps of peace. That is something that's going to be hard to do because you may have thought that those people and or those environments were what you needed in order to continue on in this life, in order to get to the next level. You thought that those environments and those people were good for you. When I think about that, I think about the people that are coming from prison as well as the people who are dealing with some type of addiction. And one of the things that specifically with the addiction, I'm thinking about AA meetings and how they encourage the people to change their environments, to mentor other people in the program, outside of the program. Because one of the things that they seen, the people that succeed in those types of programs, whether they're coming out of prison or again, a program such as AA, when they start to mentor and really mentor people, but also remove themselves from the environments that got them in trouble, they have a higher success rate. And so that's kind of the same for you. When you start to remove yourselves from the environments of chaos and toxicity, and you start to mentor, or even the mentoring for you could just be sharing your story. It could be giving those words of wisdom to someone that you see is heading down the road that you once were on. That is also reinforcing to yourself why the toxicity and the chaos needs and needed to go from your life. It all is making a difference. So if you have yet to begin your mentorship, I would highly advise you, or I should say encourage you, not advise, but I would highly encourage you to start at the very least sharing your story with people that you know could benefit from hearing your road, your long road, the process that you've been to and have been through. Liberating yourself from the chaos is remembering that creating space for your joy, for your intimacy, and your creativity, those things can't thrive in chaos. There has to be some structure there. The more um, joy that you can bring into your life, joy is not coming from a whole bunch of chaos, a whole bunch of uh, um, trauma filled conversations, a whole bunch of stress, a whole bunch of just not being able to rest in your femininity, not being able to express who you are without an argument happening, feeling like you can't do anything right. None of that comes from peace. The only way to do that, meaning gather the peace, gather the joy, gather the thriving, gather the engage in intimacy, not just sex. That's a part of intimacy, but that's not the fullness of intimacy. Being able to understand these things, none of those things can thrive when chaos is around. They're actually more put on the back burner than at the forefront of any of our brains, because now you revert back to being in survival mode. And that just can't work together. Finally, sis, if you're ever able to liberate yourself from this chaos, you'll finally be able to experience what true love and success feels like, where it's sustainable, it's safe, and it's deeply satisfying. As I mentioned before, I coach successful Black women outside of Love Restored, and I help them to really understand they have to be very clear on the type of relationship that they want. And if they're not clear, we have to come up with a game plan so they can begin their journey of becoming clear on what they want out of their relationship with themselves first, but then also the relationship with their significant other. We go a little bit deeper because it could be, what do you want with the relationship out of with your child or children? And then, of course, the relationship, it could be a spiritual relationship. So we talk about a lot of relationships when we get together and work together, because it's so important and pivotal to the growth that you want to occur in your life. So there has to be clarity. A lot of times when we're in these toxic relationships, and by the time we decide to truly exit the toxic relationship, our self-esteem has taken a hit. Our confidence is at an all-time low. And so when we're working together, I'm helping you to rewrite your self-esteem so we can raise it, as well as your confidence. And that's in talking about some of the things that you may have accomplished. It's in doing some activities as well. And it is a way to really feel fulfilled in your life. It really is. So all of these things make a huge difference in your life. And then finally, we also talk about making way for you to be courageous in your life, courageous in your relationships, having the courage to speak up and ask for what you want in the relationship, but also ask for what you want from yourself. How do you want yourself to show up in life? Of course, in your love life, but in life. What is the story that you want others to write about you in your eulogy? When there's so much toxicity and chaos around, peace cannot come. Your new normal is recognizing the toxicity around you, recognizing the toxicity within you, and then making a conscious decision to do something different to get different results. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you could do about it. I'm Marshaun Olaniyan. This is Love Restored, and you are listening to and or watching KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Got a little tongue tied. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye now.